Lent is like a big mirror, cosmic mirror. What's on one side is on the other side. Ain't no difference. The elders told us that the original now is right here, Old Man, Mississippi. The Missouri is the blue and the Ohio is the white now. And where the two come together, they got a city there to this day called Cairo. And the whole region over there, as a matter of fact, to this day, they call Little Egypt. The elders also said that in this hemisphere, you have 7 cities. The 7 churches which are mentioned in the book of Revelations. The 7 churches which are in Asia. And those 7 cities go from St. Louis up to Chicago, over to Detroit, down into Cleveland, Ohio, over to Pittsburgh, over to Philadelphia, and up into Boston. And if you connect the dots of those 7 cities, they give you the constellation of Big Dipper, the Great Bear, which was referred to as Moena, which is also a name that we sometimes call Moorish sisters, Moena. And this is what that particular and it was said by the elders, whoever rules those 7 cities rule the planet. Those are 7 key cities. And until this day, one of the cities still has the same name in the book, City Philadelphia. And Philadelphia is in what? Pennsylvania, which is the Keystone State. And when you look in the book of Revelations under Philadelphia, it says that you have the keys of David. That what you open if no man shutteth, and that what you shut if no man openeth. And in Philadelphia, what do you see there? They call it the city of brotherly love because that's what we handed the keys to our federal government, to the European Masons. And you see the Liberty Bell. Because if you take this and turn it inside out, you got the gong, you got the Liberty Bell.
And let's take this pyramid. And you know how to take that pyramid and then bring that light to the earth? Now keep that pyramid and print it in your eye. And keep it there. Then I'm going to turn the pyramid upside down and keep that and overlap that pyramid. What do you got right there? You got Hex Alpha, don't you? You got Hex Alpha, which is your dual trine. Am I correct? Huh? Now look over that bird's head and count them 13 stars. What symbol do those 13 stars make up? Hex Alpha. And that ain't Jews. Though we Jews, it ain't what you think it is. But let's look at that shadow when we bring that light to the earth. And you look underneath it and it says the Great Seal, doesn't it? Then take that and put that in front of your face and you'll see that that shadow with the acacia bush becomes a 7 in a circle, don't it? Doesn't it? You see that shadow? Huh? It becomes a 7, don't it? The reason why it violates physics, because the message and the symbology is metaphysical. Now, what you got, when you bring that light of Allah to the earth, and you harmonize and balance that dual trine, Hex Alpha, you now become the master of that seal. And that's the 7th seal right in your face. They handle it every day. That's how you hide it from them. And the sorcerers boast of it. Your job is to undo the sorcerer's work. The 7th seal is yours. The Great Seal is yours. It's up to you to claim it.
And what is this day that you call Thanksgiving? What is the history of it, if you know? Know you not that upon the day that you call Thanksgiving, that you celebrate the death of and the surrender of your own so-called black forefathers? On November 25th, 1491, after a long bloody fight against the Moors, Asiatic Muslims, who occupied Spain for over 700 years, King Ferdinand and Queen Isabella of Spain fell upon their knees and gave thanks to Santiago for the victory over the Moors. On this same day, the Pope of Rome proclaimed the day to forever be a day of thanksgiving for all European Christians. Why? because these so-called blacks of Granada, called Moors, who were originally from Africa, Spain, and Arabia, surrendered the city of Granada, the last stronghold of the Moors in Spain, and the walls of the Moorish Empire came tumbling down. These Sadian Moors, or so-called Sada blacks, were driven into Morocco and further down into West Africa, and were later betrayed, captured, and sold into America as slaves. Hunting down the stern, deep olive Kharajite Moor of Baghdad, Turkey, and slaying or enslaving him was an act highly regarded by the Christian European forces, who despised these Moors, mockingly calling them turkeys. And the Europeans looked upon these Turkish Moors as being wild and a heathen people and regarded them as their natural enemies. So what you actually celebrate on your so-called Thanksgiving is the proclamation of the Pope of Rome, who later in league with Queen Isabella sent Cardinal Ximenes to Spain to murder any Moors that resisted the religion of Christianity. Note.
Hi, how are you? My name is Whitney. I'm here to talk to you a little bit about Moorish Americans, or who Moorish Americans are. First, I'd like to say that Moorish Americans are me, people who are darker olive skin complexion or brown skin, and various diversity of colors from light to dark. We actually are the ancient Moabites, who were originally from the northern and southern Africa. That's where we originally came from, but we spread out throughout the world. And if you look around, you'll notice that a lot of figures or artifacts from ancient times look like Africanus looking faces, or look like, yes, big noses, big lips, bigger features. Now, but specifically I'm talking about Moorish Americans, the ones who were here before the colonists or the Europeans came to settle. I'd like to talk a little bit about that before 1942, and actually take a look at it. George Washington actually even wrote something in memoirs about thanking the Moors for allowing them to come to settle on the land during the peace and friendship treaty that we made with them in 1836, which was actually broken. They haven't done that. Take a look at that. But originally, I'd like to talk about us as a community, and the Moors need to wake up and realize the truth and the history of who we truly are, which are kings and queens, and then we just start carrying ourselves that way and realizing the truth and then claiming our nationality back. We are natural-born people. I don't even want to say citizens. We're naturally born people on this earth, and we go by the law of the land. We do not go by or go under the Constitution, especially the 14th Amendment Constitution, which called us corporations, as well as other people. We don't go by that. We don't go by the color of law. We are not Negro, black, or colored, so therefore we do not go by that. And once you start to realize that you're sovereign, which is free, a lot of things start to come into play. Breaking those chains out and realizing that this whole time we've been lied to. Our history books, we've been forced to go to the institutions and learn their history and what they choose to teach us. Especially with allowing us what we can see on TV, how they depict, you know what I'm saying, the Moorish community. And you're going to hear a lot about people down bashing the Moorish community as well. There is a movement as far as there's a religious aspect of it, which is Islamic or Muslim, and it's also a people. So you do not necessarily mean that because you are Moorish American that you're claiming to be the Science Temple or the Moorish Science Temple of America. Now, Nobuju Ali, he did start the movement as far as waking people up, and I am grateful for him to doing that and realizing the truth of that when we are born a property to someone else. We don't even realize that we're prisoners in our own home, in our own land that they took from us, that we need to claim back. And when you go through the history and you start to look at things, and especially learning how they play with words, especially in the Constitution, like persons capitalized and sometimes it's citizens lowercase in the United States. There's things because they're talking about different people. And take a look at the Declaration of Human Rights of Indigenous People, and also take a look at the Friendship and Peace Treaty, or the Moroccan Treaty that we also made. And if you want, look up Tariq Bey. He's a good person to start with, giving you some lectures and things to get your idea. but he's going to talk a little bit about, you know, the natural person, your birthright, how when you're born they give you a social security card, a birth certificate, a license, and tell you that you need to have these things. You don't need to have these things, ladies and gentlemen. All that's BS. That's going under their system of government. We do not have to go under there, because therefore this is our land. We don't have to go by what the Christian community came over here and forced on our religion, forced on us. I don't want to say religion. Let me say that a little about Christianity. Christian originally was a race of people, which is the European people, and the Moors were people of skin or pigmentation, or melanated people. So the word Christian came from a race of people, and they took that word and flipped it around and turned it into a religion. Do you see that? It turned into a religion, and they have our people following their religion. They have this Yeshua, which is the correct term for Jesus. They're following this blonde-haired, blue-eyed person, or their book that they wrote. You're following things that is based off of fear, or they're controlling us under that. I say that we break free and find out the truth of where we truly came from, you know, who the true, and we only need to go by one power, and that's the Creator. We don't need to go by anything else, and figure out breaking free of that. And I think once people realize that, it'll be easier for us to accept the truth, and that we are actually truly kings and queens, ladies and gentlemen. We have titles. We don't have names. We have titles. Don't refer to me as my corporational or my straw man name. And it sounds funny, but it's really serious. And I really want people to wake up about this and see what's happening, and do your research. Don't believe me. Do your research. Trust me. Learn the truth about who you are. Come back to me with new information. I don't want to argue, you know, if you're saying about religion or not religion. This is not what I'm here. I'm here to educate you on a little bit of the truth. And if I get you to go look at a book or Google something, then hey, I've done my job.